Out with an administrator that has access to the camera systems and the school.
Peterson would be the one that would have the access to where the cameras are.
I don't know where Peterson is.
We need somebody with the camera systems ASAP. Where's the principal? Who's with the principal? And we need to start making a plan here.
I got a guy here outside the building with us that can get the cameras. We're going to go inside and go get to the cameras.
They are monitoring the subject right now. He went from the third floor to the second floor. Third to the second floor. Is now back down on the second floor. He was on the third, back on the second floor now.
She just kept saying she was scared, Mommy, come and get me. And I kept saying, I can't get to you right now. They're not letting us. And she kept saying, just come get me, just come get me. I'm scared. They're banging down doors. And I just kept trying to tell her, stay calm and just do what they tell you.
My fellow Americans, yesterday, a school filled with innocent children and caring teachers became the scene of terrible violence, hatred, and evil. Today we mourn for all of those who lost their lives.
I get to the door at the top of the west stairwell in the 1200 building. We hear gunfire. Heard 2 shots. I didn't see it, but then those 2 shots would have been my friend Scott Beagle getting shot and killed while trying to save his kids. Bang, bang, bang. All of a sudden, the shooting stopped. I looked down. He was reloading. I yelled, run. And then I ran behind as many kids as I could. And when I first saw the shooter, he had an AR-15. 19-year-old young man with trouble. Tried to save as many as I could. Unfortunately, I didn't get all of them.
This just happened yesterday. We were going to be mourning, grieving, and a bit broken for a while. We're human. But I promise the cameras are going to move on. The seasons are going to change, and the sun is going to rise.
It's something that I never envisioned would happen in Broward County. We are providing crisis teams at 4 locations today to be able to provide grief counseling to our students, families, and staff.
What's important to me is that we make sure this never happens again. We have got to figure out in this country how to make sure our schools are safe.
Well, as you know, right now, the individual is in custody.
A deeply troubled young man walked into his old high school and opened fire. Murdered 17 of his former classmates and teachers. When the president meets with our nation's governors in the days ahead, he will make school safety the top priority of this administration.
We have uncovered at the Broward Sheriff's Office that we've had approximately 20 calls for service over the last few years regarding the killer.
Earlier today, the FBI released a statement regarding information provided to our public access line on January 5th of this year. The caller provided information about Nikolas Cruz and the potential of him becoming a school shooter. This information should have been provided to the Miami field office. Protocol was not followed.
Now I'm feeling incredibly angry. I'm feeling incredibly sad. I'm very tired, running on a few hours of sleep, and I'm not really feeling my stomach anymore, you know, like hunger. I don't really think about anything anymore except for this. It's never off my mind.
But we need to pay attention to the fact that this isn't just a mental health issue. They say that tougher gun laws do not decrease gun violence. We call BS! If the president wants to come up to me and tell me to my face that it was a terrible tragedy and how it should never have happened, I'm gonna happily ask him how much money he received from the National Rifle Association. It doesn't matter because I already know! $30 million! We want
We want to start a conversation. The most important thing that we want to do is have our legislators and governors at least speak to us about possible change.
Unity, like we're together, we're joined, and we're strong, and we're going to get through this together.
It's a real feat. If someone like myself, I've been a strong Trump supporter, someone like myself has been able to go to the middle ground and understand that there need to be changes, that's great.
That's why we're going to Tallahassee in the first place, because we knew that they weren't going to hear us if we just stayed in Parkland, Florida. We have to go to them because we have to, show them how loud our voices can get. Because if we don't, then how are they ever going to listen to us?
Hi, I'm Sophie. Nice to meet you.
We all thought that it was a shooter. And it was just like a horrifying sight. Like my school turned into a horror scene.
We'll probably spend a minimum of $100 million more on mental health and increasing the
from Stoneman Douglas High School. I am just grateful that I'm here and we can try to work out something, maybe compromise on some solution.
We're going to get things done. It's called concealed carry, where a teacher would have a concealed gun on them. They'd go for special training, and they would be there, and you would no longer have a gun-free zone.
School teachers have more than enough responsibilities right now than to have the awesome responsibility of lethal force to take a life.
Because my daughter has no voice. She was murdered last week, shot 9 times. We, as a country, failed our children. And I'm pissed, because my daughter I'm not going to see again. But we need our children safe.
I beg and I demand that every single person in power who has the ability to change the fear that kids feel going back to school, that they do something. Because I want everybody to know I'm supposed to be going back to school in less than a week. And I'm not ready. I don't think anybody here is ready.
We've been to many rooms, we've spoken to only a few legislators, and the most we've gotten out of them is, we'll keep you in our thoughts, you are so strong, you are so powerful. We want gun reform, we want common sense gun laws. We want stronger mental health checks and background checks to work in conjunction. We want a better age limit. We want privatized selling to be completely reformed so you can't just walk into a building with $130 and walk out with an AR-15.
Excuses here to cover up what's really going on. We are dealing with a national crisis here caused by failure to protect. You failed us.
What do we want? Gun control. Now. Don't shoot. Hands up. Don't shoot. Hands up.
America's high school students are leading a revolution against political complacency and collusion with the NRA.
Like, it can happen to any of us, and that's why we're enraged, and that's why we really want action to be done.
And there's so many other children around this country who feel the same and who want to come out here and do similar. And I think that soon our voices will have to be heard.
We're coming out here expressing our voice and, quite frankly, our frustration. We're tired of politicians and their inaction, just saying thoughts and prayers. That's not enough.
We need something to happen. We don't want to be next. No other school wants to be next, but we need something. We need to do something. They're not going to give us that change if we don't fight for it.
We all walked out of our school. It was just an amazing energy to know that everyone's together here.
We want change. There's nothing else. Never again. We want our change.
We want change. We want change. We want change.
I want people to know that this is not okay, that this is an injustice, and we should not stand idly by.
As usual, the opportunist wasted not 1 second to exploit tragedy for political gain. Their goal is to eliminate the Second Amendment.
We have to harden our schools, not soften them up. A gun-free zone to a killer, that's like going in for the ice cream. We need to let people know, you come into our schools, you're going to be dead, and it's going to be fast. And unless you do that, you're going to always have this problem.
In the case of Scott Peterson, our school resource deputy, Scott Peterson was absolutely on campus. He was armed, he was in uniform, and he never went in.
Deputy Sheriff Peterson, he didn't have the courage or something happened, but he certainly did a poor job. There's no question about that.
I am totally against arming teachers. Asking our teachers to carry guns, to me, that's an easy way out. You don't spend any money, you don't spend any resources on it. We got to do a better job investing in education, making sure our schools are as safe as possible.
Well, our history with gun control and regulation is obviously very different. The semi-automatic and let alone automatic weapons are essentially not available.
The NRA is composed of people that I know very well. These are good people. They're patriots. They love our country.
I want to create a new program in Florida. This will allow a court to prohibit a violent or mentally ill person from purchasing or possessing a firearm or any other weapon when either a family member, community welfare expert, or law enforcement officer files a sworn request and presents evidence to the court of a threat of violence involving firearms or other weapons.
The governors, we're going to have a lot of meetings tomorrow. We're going to have some very important meetings. We'll be talking about Parkland. And I want to thank Governor Rick Scott of Florida. Rick, please stand up.
I'm so grateful to be here, and it's times like these when I know that we need to stick together, and I'm just glad that I'm making a full recovery.
I'll say, you got to smile for them. Now smile. They continue to be inspiring students. They continue to show us their resilience.